welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do another ranking video. I'm going through all of my makeup collection and ranking everything from least favorite to favorite in order for me to figure out what I want to declutter, and then I will finally do a massive declutter. So I don't know which video this is going to be, but it's going to be posted. I am taking a whole week off, so that's why I'm trying to like bulk film. So you might see me pop in and around everywhere. Anyway, let's get started. So I do have quite a lot of face palettes. We're doing face palettes today. And so I have separated them into 3 different categories just so I can go through this a little bit better. I have ones that are only going to have blush, ones that are only going to have highlighters, and then ones that have a combination of everything. I don't have any that are just bronzers. So anything that's bronzer or a highlighter, it's kind of grouped into the everything side. It's also pretty hard to rank face palettes because obviously it has multiple shades in there, and I'm trying to rank it as a whole, the quality of the whole face palette, because there are definitely going to be certain shades or types of shades or highlighters or bronzers or blush in palettes that I don't like, but I enjoy everything else, or vice versa, I only enjoy one. So I've tried my best to figure this out. It's been a little tricky, but let's get started. Okay, so we are going to start with my blush palettes. I only have 3 of them. I do actually like all of these, but my least favorite has to be the NARS. This is the Rising Star palette. Not only is it more expensive than the others, but it's a baked gelée formula, and I'm not sure if that is all my preference when it comes to blush formula or really any other formula, because I don't think I like it really for bronzers either. I just find that you do have to work a little bit harder to build up the product, and while they are pigmented, they do take a little bit of time, and sometimes I'm in a rush to do my makeup. I don't have all day to put my blush on, so this is definitely not one that I would go to automatically. Oh, I really want to go into my NARS. I mean, I like going into it because it has some really beautiful shades. I definitely like all of these, I would say neutral leaning shades, and I like this peach, but I definitely just go into these mostly. These are just pops of pink, and it's quite fun to use them occasionally. I don't go into them all the time, so definitely half of the palette is used more than the other side. However, I think it's just in terms of formula-wise, I have to work a little bit harder for this one. While it is nice to not have a blush that is overly pigmented where I just completely look like a clown, this one, I just feel like I have to build it up quite a lot sometimes. Sometimes it's fine, but you know, I just have to rank them, so I'm ranking this one here. All right, next up we've got the Lunar Beauty Moon Prism. I really love this. So this actually could have been number 1. So you can see, like, I only have 3 of the actual blush palettes. So it was hard for me to rank them, but I really do enjoy this one. I enjoy all of the shades. I do find that I get a little bit confused what the shade looks like. Like when I look at the palette, I feel like these ones look more nude or more like brown, but when I end up putting them on my cheeks, they pull very mauve. So I think because it has the pale pink packaging, it throws me off what the actual color is of these. So because they definitely look more brown, but they're more mauve on the cheeks. Honestly, it doesn't even look like I've used this at all, but I have. It's just, they're very, very pigmented. But not to the point where they're too pigmented that you can't work with them. They're just a lovely, I would say this is a very toned down type of blush as well, that they're not your vibrant colors. So they're definitely wearable, and I can wear all of these shades and they're really beautiful. And I do like the formula. This one is a little bit different from the rest. It's got a little bit of a sheen, and that's pretty. It's very, very pretty, this one. So I really, really enjoy this palette overall. I think it's stunning. So yeah, I can't foresee myself getting rid of this. Okay, and then I think my favorite one in terms of like a blush palette would actually be this P. Louise one. I got this from the budget box. I was pretty lucky when I only tried one budget box, and I scored pretty big with that one. But this one comes with a massive amount of blush. I have hummed and hawed about whether I should just depot this and put it somewhere else because the packaging is absolutely huge. But I do think this formula is really beautiful. It reminds me of the Colourpop blush formula, which I know some people don't enjoy that formula. I generally do. I like their matte formula, and these are all matte. And I do think that they're very similar, and that to me is a good thing. So I don't mind it. And I feel like I have all the shades that I could possibly need if I'm going for a pink blush, because these are all leaning very, very pink. The two over here are more neutral, but obviously still lean in more peachy pink. And I do tend to go into these more than any others. But yeah, it is a massive brick. It's pretty thick. And, you know, I've gone into it quite a bit. You might shop my stashes. I haven't tried to hit pan on anything like this, but we'll see. I don't know how deep they are. I imagine they're actually not that deep, to be fair. It's just the packaging is extreme. But anyway, yeah, this is from the My First Blush palette. I didn't actually mention that. So anyway, those are my blush face palettes, and like if I had to rank them, that would be the order that I would rank them. Next up, we're gonna go into my all highlighter palettes. And again, I do enjoy all of these, but there are some that I like better. So I would say my least favorite is the Revlon Galaxy Dream. This is a holographic highlighting palette. This one I got, it was very inexpensive, and it's just not the same quality as some of the others, so that's why I'm ranking it low. You do have these holographic shades, and they all pull obviously different colors. You can see you got a more green one, a blue one, this one, I can't remember what this one is. Maybe, what is this one? I don't know. I think that one's the more pink one, and then this one's the more peach one, but they're not like amazing, like compared to other holographic highlighting shades, or even eyeshadow shades that are holographic. They just don't compare in terms of the quality. They're very, very powdery. However, I think the green one is pretty fun. The green one actually is not as powdery. And you can't see it in the viewfinder, so that's fun. But I would just say, yeah, this is why I'm ranking it low. I actually have been enjoying this. I did pull it from my Shop My Stash, and I've been enjoying it, but it's definitely not the best one that I currently have in my collection, which is fine. Okay, next up is the other massive brick that I got from P. Louise in that same budget box. This is the Everyday Mood Geo 100,000 highlighting palette. I actually don't even know what this is called. It doesn't really make sense what the name is, but yeah, you get 9 different highlighters. And the reason I'm ranking it here, I do have 5 highlighters in this section, so I'm ranking it pretty low. I think a lot of these highlighters I don't actually feel like I can use. So all of these deeper tone ones are very pretty. They're more like blush toppers in a sense. And so I tend to forget about them. And when I go into this, I usually just go into these ones over here, which makes sense. But, you know, this is another reason why I'm humming and ahhing about maybe just depotting it and keeping the ones that I'm actually going to use. And maybe just part with these, because I think some of these I haven't even tried, or maybe I've just swatched them once and that's about it. I think the quality in this is actually really pretty. I don't mind the quality. It is a pretty quality, but I just hardly go into it. It's just not my preference. Maybe it's the packaging. Maybe I need to depot it. Okay, this next one is from Ofra. This is the Glow Up palette. Mine is completely broken in terms of the packaging, and I did actually have this shade that was smashed, so I did fix it recently. But this comes with all of their, I want to say, like most famous shades. So you have the Beverly Hills, you have Star Island, Rodeo Drive, and Blissful in this palette. And I got this in a beauty box several years ago. Obviously I've hit pan in one of them. I like this. I think the quality of Ofra is really good. They're kind of like gone off the radar recently. I feel like people don't care about the brand that much. I think they were in some controversy a few years ago, so maybe that's why. You don't necessarily really hear about them anymore. So I'm glad that I have this because I do like the formula, and you know, Ofra highlighter is an Ofra highlighter. I think if you have one, you kind of know how they're all going to perform because they are very beautiful, but they're not my go-to, I have to say. Like when I use them, they're very pretty on the face, a little blinding, and maybe because they're just a little too blinding, they're not my preference. But also I have a lot of other highlighters, like single highlighters. So when I go into face palettes, it's, you know, it's because I pulled it from my Shop My Stash and I like remind myself that I should use it. But yeah, in terms of like my favorite highlighting palette, it's definitely not there. It's kind of in the middle, but you know, it's fine. All right, then I have my Glamshop here. This is the Svetlovka. butchered that completely, but I've had this for a few years. I use this mostly as inner corner highlights for my eyes. They're very, very pretty shades. In comparison to the Revlon, which I did show you earlier, these ones are just much more sparkly and beautiful. They all have obviously the different like flips of color to them. We have a purple one, more of an icy like white one, and then a peachy pinky one. I thought one of these was blue. Maybe this is the blue one. I don't know. In different lights, it looks different. But yeah, I do enjoy this. I like I said, I kind of use it for my eyes, but you can use it on the cheeks if you want to. They're not too ridiculous that it looks stupid. Obviously, it depends on what else you put on your face. So obviously, if I'm going with a pink look, I will go with a pink one. Or if I have like blue, this one is good because it like is more purpley blue. But otherwise, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. And I don't use it on my face. I just use it on my eyes and it's very pretty. So I do like it. And then this one is very similar to that one. This is the Frosting palette from Cosmic Beauty. I just think this formula is a little bit prettier than the last one. I did just drop this, but thankfully I didn't break it because these are actually really, really creamy. So I'm actually working on this in my project pan currently. If you don't follow me on my project pan project, then follow me. But yeah, I'm trying to hit pan in all of these so you can see. But again, I use this a lot for my eyes. These are very pretty. Oh, I just went into the same shade with the same one. That's not helpful, is it? These are very pretty. I would say definitely way better than what I've just shown you in terms of formula. And also, they're actually pretty wearable. They don't really emphasize a lot of texture because they're not super glittery. Like I don't like a glittery highlighter. I just think it looks awful. Whereas I think the Glamshop one is a little bit glittery. This one's not that glittery at all. Maybe this pink shade is a tiny bit more glittery than the other ones, but I feel like this is very wearable on the skin, as well as obviously on the eyes. So I actually have this shade in my inner corner right now. So yeah, I really do like this palette, and this is my favorite highlighting palette. All right, next we move on to my all-in-ones. Well, technically not really, but we're calling them the all-in-one. Some of them have bronzer, highlighter, blush. Some of them have one or the other. So we're just gonna go with it. First one, we have my Peachy palette from Chic Glam. I'm ranking this the lowest because I think the quality is the weakest out of all the rest of them. I have it currently in my project pan, so I'm working on this shade. I still don't know if I'm going to declutter the whole palette once I have finished the shade. I do like this blush. It is a shimmery blush. It's not super pigmented, so you do need to like pack it on. I do like this in the inner corner as well. This is pretty. It's a pretty like yellowy highlighter, and I do have a teeny tiny pan on it. But yeah, these two shades I don't use, so I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but I would say this is my least favorite just because of the quality. Then we have my Belgian Waffle from BH Cosmetics. I would have rated this higher. However, I have depotted these two shades. I have barely anything left. This is what I have left, and I'm working on them in my project pan. And so when we look at the rest of the palette, I don't really like the rest of these shades. Even the lightest highlighter, I do feel like is a little too, I don't know, blinding, and also not the type of highlighter that I really want to be using or putting on my face. I just don't think it's for me. And this bronzer is too deep. Obviously, these two shades are too deep. So I think this is going to be declutter, but shh, don't tell anyone. But yeah, I'm ranking it here because I did really like the formula, obviously, of those other two shades I've been working on. I've always loved this palette, but it's getting to the end of its life. All right, moving on, we have this palette. This is from Douglas. So this is a highlighting palette, and I was going to have it in the other section. However, there are some shades in here that I feel like this is a blush topper and this is a bronzer topper. And so when I go into this, I don't consider them highlighters. So I thought, well, it's got to go in the all-in-ones. They're all definitely highlighting shades, but yeah, I don't use them all for that reason. They're all very shimmery. I have to be careful because some of them, the glue has stopped working and they do end up falling out. So I can't like lean it in too close to you, but obviously you can see all the different colors. And actually this is really stunning on the face. I really, really enjoyed this. Had I ranked it in the highlighting section, it would have been ranked like probably around the middle, not like super high, but it would have been ranked decently well. And I think it's really, really pretty. So yeah, this is here. And I do actually go into all of these shades when I do pull it from my Shop My Stash and dip my hands in here. And you can see there's quite a bit of use and disturbance on this one, so I do enjoy it. All right, then we have my Natasha Denona. This is my only cream palette left. This is the Bronze Cheek Face Glow. Now, I used to really enjoy this to the point that I had it in my project pan and I was like working through it. I was working through these two shades. I still really like this cream highlighter. I think it's stunning. But then this one is, I stopped enjoying this. This is a cream bronzer, not bronzer, blush, but it pulls like a bronzer now on me. I don't know what I was thinking a couple years ago, but I was using it as a blush and loving it. And then last year I stopped loving it and I still feel that same way. And then these two down here, I don't tend to really go into. So this one, honestly, maybe I should have put the Douglas ahead of this one because I think this might have to go in the chopping block. I think I've used enough of it that I'm satisfied to let it go. I think it served me a purpose and I'm not sure if I really need it anymore. So I don't know. I'm going to rank it here because I think the quality and the formula is beautiful, but I think the actual like tones of the shades in there just don't seem to work for me. And so that's why it's low. Okay, next up we have my Beauty Bay. This is the, like they're just normal base palette. This is the light shade. I think they have 3 different shades. Now, I don't like everything in this palette, unfortunately. I do not like Beauty Bay highlighters. I've already decluttered one of them. I had a single highlighter and I really didn't like it. And then when I bought this palette, I had forgotten I don't like their highlighter formula. So I don't enjoy this, but I do like the 2 blush and the bronzer works really great for me. So in all, I do like this palette, but I just wish that I preferred the highlighter. I can get away with it. I don't really like it on my face. If I'm going to use it, I'm going to use it in my inner corner. I have a lot of highlighters though, so it's not my go-to, but if I have the palette out, maybe I'll use it in my inner corner, maybe not. But yeah, I do really like the formula of these. It doesn't look like I've used them at all, but I have. I have it in my Shop My Stash right now. And yeah, these are pigmented, so you don't need a lot. I've seen people pan these and it takes a lifetime, so I don't know if I could do that to myself, but we'll see, we'll never know. But yeah, I do like the quality of this. And then I don't know if this really belongs here, but I did put this one here. Is it my favorite though? Who knows? This is the Sculpt Power from W7. It's a Benefit dupe. Obviously they do all their dupes. So this definitely, you know, this is like supposed to be like the Hoola bronzer and everything like that and all their other shades from Benefit. But I think the quality of this for W7 is really good. This was very inexpensive. And I really like this. So, and I also like all of the shades. So I'm ranking it here because I don't have any negative thing to say about it other than it's W7. I don't know. It's, yeah, I think it's really pretty. I mean, this is not the best highlighter in the world. I will admit that, but as a palette itself, like I'm ranking the whole palette as a whole. And if I like every single shade in it, I gotta rank it high. So yeah, I think this is really beautiful. I do really like the bronzer too. I think the bronzer is probably pushing my vote a little bit because it does work for me very well. And this blush is really stunning. So anyway, that's where I'm ranking all of my palettes. So there we are. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of my ranking videos, as well as any other panning content or beauty content, whatever. And thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.